You are crouched on cold stone, your sandals slick beneath you. The air is thick, sour, alive with the sharp sting of ammonia and something far worse. Beneath your feet, water murmurs in the dark, never still, never clean. Voices echo around you, casual, unbothered men talking as they sit shoulder to shoulder, exposed, unashamed. You feel the damp chill creep through your legs as insects skim the surface below, disappearing into shadow. A sudden splash sends droplets against your skin. You tense because you know what lives in that water. You can smell it, you can almost feel it brushing past you. There is no privacy here, no safety. No certainty that you will stand up again without pain, sickness, or something crawling where it should not be. This is not relief. This is risk, carved in stone. This place was once praised as a triumph of civilization, copied, admired, and held up as proof of Roman brilliance. But beneath the stone and flowing water hid a reality most people never imagine. This was not an exaggeration, not a myth built by modern disgust. What you were about to enter was normal, daily, unavoidable, and quietly lethal. A system designed to manage waste, order, and health instead became a perfect meeting point for disease, fear, and silent danger. To understand why, you must stay inside it a little longer. Every civilization, no matter how powerful or advanced, faces the same unglamorous problem. Human bodies produce waste every single day in staggering amounts. An adult can generate more than 100 kilograms of waste each year, and in dense cities, that waste does not disappear on its own. It accumulates, it rots, it poisons water and air. Left unmanaged, it spreads disease faster than armies spread conquest. History is filled with cities brought to their knees not by enemies, but by filth. Early societies dumped waste into streets, rivers, or shallow pits. The results were predictable. Drinking water turned deadly. Insects multiplied by the millions. Epidemics moved silently through populations, killing children first, then the elderly, then the strong. Entire neighborhoods could be wiped out without a single sword drawn. The larger a city grew, the more dangerous this problem became. Scale was the enemy. 10,000 people produced discomfort, 1 million produced catastrophe. Rome understood this reality better than most. At its height, the city held over 1 million inhabitants, packed tightly within stone walls. Every day, tens of thousands relieved themselves. Every day, waste threatened to overwhelm the streets, the markets, the homes. The question was never whether waste would exist. The question was whether it could be controlled. And control, in Rome, was not just about cleanliness. It was about survival, power, and the fragile illusion that civilization could dominate even the most human of needs. The Roman answer was monumental. It was built from stone, gravity, and confidence. Water was the key. Fresh water poured into the city through aqueducts that stretched across valleys and hills for dozens of kilometers. That same water, once used in fountains, baths, and households, was redirected downward, pushed into channels beneath the streets. These channels formed a vast underground network, sloped with careful precision, so waste would flow away rather than stagnate. Public latrines were connected directly to this system. Long stone benches lined the walls, each with evenly spaced openings, no partitions, no doors. Beneath them ran a continuous stream of water, meant to carry waste into the sewers below. In theory, nothing stayed long enough to cause harm. The system relied on constant motion. Still, water was the enemy. Flow meant safety. Below everything ran the Cloaca Maxima, one of the largest sewer systems of the ancient world. It was wide enough for carts, tall enough for men to walk through. It drained into the river, carrying the city's refuse away from its heart. This was engineering on a scale never seen before. Stone arches reinforced tunnels, access points allowed maintenance. Entire neighborhoods were planned around this hidden circulation system, but the system had limits. It depended on water pressure, seasonal rains, and constant upkeep. It mixed human waste with runoff from streets, animal remains, and industrial chemicals from tanneries and workshops. Nothing was filtered. Nothing was sterilized. The Romans believed movement was enough. If waste flowed away, danger flowed with it. What they did not understand was that invisible threats could move just as easily, sometimes faster, through the same channels they trusted with their lives. You step inside as the noise of the street fades behind you. The light dims immediately, broken only by a pale glow spilling in from the entrance. Stone walls trap the heat of bodies and the damp breath of running water. The floor beneath your feet is worn smooth by generations, slick in places where moisture never fully dries. There is no hesitation from the others inside. Men enter, greet one another, sit. This is not a private act. It is social, ordinary, almost routine. You move toward the bench, a long slab of cold stone polished by use. The openings are closer than you expect. There is no barrier, no separation, only a shared line of exposed bodies. You sit, feeling the chill bite into your skin. Beneath you, water slides past with a constant whisper, carrying whatever was left by the person before you. The sound never stops. It echoes softly, like breathing from below the floor. The smell is overwhelming at first, sharp, acidic, layered with rot. Your nose adjusts, not because it improves, but because it must. You notice details instead. The rough texture of stone under your hands, the faint warmth rising from the channel below, the way insects drift lazily through the air, attracted by moisture and waste. Some crawl along the edges of the openings, vanishing into the dark. Voices surround you. Conversations about business, politics, sports, food. Laughter breaks out nearby. No one lowers their voice. No one seems uncomfortable. This is where information spreads as easily as disease. Deals are made here. Gossip travels here. You are expected to stay, to listen, to participate. Leaving too quickly would seem strange. At your feet, a narrow gutter runs parallel to the bench. This is where water flows for cleaning, not for the stone, but for you. You reach for the sponge. It rests in the channel, soaked, darkened from use. There is only one. It has passed from hand to hand all day, perhaps for years. You rinse it briefly in the moving water. That water has already touched everything else in this room. Then you use it, because there is no alternative. The stone is colder now. Your skin prickles. You shift slightly and feel a splash rise from below, a reminder of how close the water truly is. Somewhere deeper in the system, something moves. A heavier sound. A sudden disturbance sends ripples through the channel. You glance down, but the darkness hides whatever passed through. Time stretches. The longer you sit, the more you notice discomfort creeping in. The bench is unforgiving. Your legs tingle. The air feels heavier, harder to breathe deeply. Moisture clings to your skin. Sweat mixes with dampness from below. The room hums with life, human and otherwise. A child enters with his father, unbothered, stepping carefully across the floor. An older man struggles to sit, lowering himself slowly, gripping the stone for balance. This place serves everyone. Rich, poor, young, old. Marble may line the entrance in wealthier districts, but the experience is the same. The same water, the same sponge, the same unseen risks. When you finally stand, relief is mixed with unease. You wash your hands in a basin nearby, cold water splashing against your fingers. There is no soap, only friction and habit. You dry your hands on your tunic, already worn from daily life. As you step back into the light, the street feels brighter, cleaner, safer, but the sensation lingers, the chill, the smell. The awareness that whatever touched you inside may still be with you now, invisible, patient, waiting. The danger did not announce itself. It hid beneath the water, inside the stone, in the habits everyone trusted. The channels below the benches were not clean streams. They were slow, shallow flows thick with bacteria, parasites, and waste from thousands of bodies. Warm enough to sustain life, dark enough to hide it. Rats moved freely through the tunnels, their bodies slick as they swam and climbed, carrying fleas and disease from one latrine to another. Snakes followed the same paths, drawn by warmth and prey, sometimes surfacing without warning through the openings beneath the seats. The water itself was a threat. When rain was scarce or aqueduct pressure dropped, the flow slowed, waste lingered, gases built up. Methane and hydrogen sulfide collected in the tunnels, invisible and deadly. In enclosed spaces, a single spark from a dropped oil lamp could ignite the air. There were moments when people collapsed without warning, overcome by fumes, before they understood what was happening. Death came quietly, mistaken for weakness or bad luck. Parasites thrived here. Intestinal worms entered through contaminated water and reused sponges, burrowing into bodies and draining strength over months or years. Skin infections spread easily where damp stone met exposed flesh. Small cuts became entry points for bacteria. There was no understanding of microbes, only the belief that foul smells caused illness. The smell was everywhere, so illness became normal. Even the act meant to clean carried risk. The shared sponge, passed from hand to hand, absorbed far more than water. It carried traces of blood, waste, and disease from every person before you. It pressed those traces directly against vulnerable skin. What felt like hygiene was often transmission. A single infected individual could silently affect dozens in a single day. Below the latrines, the cloaca carried everything outward, but not everything left. Flooding was common. Heavy rains pushed river water back through the system, forcing sewage upward. Latrines overflowed. Streets filled with contaminated water. Homes near sewer openings were hit hardest, their floors slick with filth. People waded through it because they had no choice. The risks extended beyond disease. The stone benches themselves could crack or collapse. Falls were not rare. Injuries happened in moments of distraction. In crowded spaces, one misstep could send someone into the channel below. Rescue was difficult. The tunnels were narrow, dark, and unstable. Some who fell were never recovered. None of this stopped daily use. The system was too essential, too embedded in life to avoid. Every visit carried the same quiet gamble. You might leave unharmed. You might carry something invisible back with you. Or you might never leave at all, claimed by a system designed to protect a city, but perfectly capable of killing the people who trusted it. Strangeness wrapped itself around danger until it felt normal. Romans believed certain gods watched over these spaces, so offerings were sometimes left near the entrances, small tokens meant to appease unseen forces below. There were charms carved into stone and crude symbols scratched near the openings, attempts to ward off misfortune from a place everyone feared but pretended not to. Humor became armor. Jokes were common here, crude and sharp, because laughter made the discomfort easier to bear. There were rules, too, though few were written. Leaving waste on the seat was considered deeply offensive, not because of hygiene, but because it showed disrespect to the shared space. Yet the shared sponge was accepted without question. It was normal for it to fall into the channel and be retrieved, dripping, used again without comment. Cleanliness was judged by appearance, not by what could not be seen. Social hierarchy blurred in these rooms. Senators might sit beside laborers, freedmen beside merchants. Status mattered less than timing, but not all spaces were equal. Wealthier districts had latrines fed by stronger water flow, better ventilation, smoother stone. Poorer areas relied on slower channels and darker rooms, where smells lingered and insects multiplied. The experience told you exactly where you stood in the city, even when titles disappeared. Children were brought here early, taught that this was simply how life worked. Privacy was a foreign concept. Bodily functions were communal, observed, accepted. Embarrassment was weakness. Endurance was virtue. Yet superstition thrived alongside confidence. Sudden illness after a visit was blamed on bad omens, evil spirits, or offended gods, not on the sponge, the water, or the stone beneath them. Some believed sitting too long allowed spirits from below to enter the body. Others warned against looking directly into the openings, convinced something might look back. Stories spread of creatures rising from the depths, of snakes striking without warning, of men bitten where they were most vulnerable. Whether true or exaggerated, fear lingered beneath the laughter. In this place, reason and ritual coexisted. Engineering met belief. Practical necessity merged with myth. The latrine was not just infrastructure, it was a mirror of Roman life itself, brilliant, brutal, communal, and deeply human, where even the most advanced society in the world clung to habits that felt normal, even as they quietly worked against its own survival. When the system weakened, the city felt it immediately. Maintenance slowed as money was redirected to wars and politics. Stones cracked, channels clogged. Water that once flowed steadily began to hesitate, then stop. Latrines backed up, not dramatically at first, but subtly, with lingering smells and darker water that no longer carried waste away. People adapted, as they always had, stepping around problems instead of fixing them. As aqueducts fell into disrepair, less clean water reached the city. The delicate balance that kept the sewers moving collapsed. Waste accumulated underground, fermenting in the dark. Floods became more frequent, pushing filth back into streets and homes. Neighborhoods near the river suffered the most, their living spaces slowly transformed into extensions of the sewer itself. Disease followed these changes, spreading faster where water stagnated and insects thrived. Over time, public latrines were abandoned or repurposed. Some became dumping grounds, others collapsed entirely, swallowed by the ground above the tunnels. The knowledge required to maintain such a vast system faded as skilled workers disappeared. What had once symbolized Roman order became a reminder of its fragility. The consequences lingered long after the empire weakened. Cities that lost access to sanitation lost population, health, and stability. Life expectancy dropped. Epidemics returned with force. The collapse was not sudden, but it was relentless. When the water stopped flowing, the illusion of control vanished with it, leaving behind stone ruins and a quiet lesson carved into the ground beneath them. Modern bathrooms feel sterile, private, controlled. Water disappears at the press of a handle, waste vanishes behind porcelain and pipes, and we rarely think about where it goes. But the principles underneath are ancient. Gravity still rules, flow still matters. When those systems fail during floods, power outages, overcrowding, or war, the past returns almost immediately. Streets flood, disease spreads, comfort collapses faster than technology. Rome's latrines remind us that progress is not a straight line. The Romans solved a problem most of the ancient world could not, but they solved it imperfectly, dangerously, and without understanding the invisible enemies they unleashed. Their engineering was brilliant, yet incomplete. Their confidence masked risk. What feels advanced in one era can become reckless in another. The irony is quiet but sharp. We inherited their systems, refined them, hid them behind walls, and forgot how fragile they truly are. The danger did not vanish. It was managed, contained, pushed out of sight. And like Rome learned too late, the moment that containment fails, civilization feels it in the most human way possible. If this hidden corner of daily Roman life surprised you, There are many more places where ancient brilliance and silent danger overlapped. Beneath baths, kitchens, streets, and even temples, systems meant to protect people often placed them closer to harm than they realized. These forgotten spaces reveal history not as marble statues and triumphs, but as lived experience, uncomfortable and human. There is more waiting below the surface. In other cities, other empires, and other inventions we still trust today.